part of the health regulations here, and I'll point out things as we go when we get to them. Health practitioner must maintain the necessary competence in his or her field of practice. So my argument here on this first point is, I've been sold by so many doctors now, especially the GP system, that no, they're not microbiologists, so they can't say, what bacteria is part of the male urinary tract, or what a gram-positive cocci is. I'm sorry, basic medicine tells you that should tell you the native biomes of the human body at best. Should you have scans or mediums, mouth and bowel, they're going to have up to medium growths because they're your body's biggest protection systems. Your skin's going to have light to moderate growths because it's again part of the protection system, as well as being the firmest protection against everything else. They should know these basic things, the basic outlines of diseases. Gram-positive coccis can only be Streptococcus and Staphylococcus species. Gram-positive bacilli can only be Clostridiums or alike. They should know the basic outline so that they're not running 1,000 tests like me being tested 16 times for gonorrhea because I've got urinary pus. It can't be gonorrhea. Everything's gram-positive cocci. How can it be gonorrhea? It's just a waste of money, an intentional waste of money. Health practitioners must not use his or her professional or particular qualifications to mislead, deceive his or her clients as to his or her competence in his or her field of practice or ability to provide treatment. So all of these doctors that have said that they can't run these basic everyday common tests, are they being misleading about their field of practice and their ability to provide treatment? My argument is they are. A health practitioner must not attempt to dissuade clients from seeking or continuing with treatment by registered medical practitioners. Now, I've had nearly every infectious diseases, an immunologist, a ENT, and a urologist all tell my GPs they shouldn't treat me, I don't have an infection. So all these recurring symptoms that they can't see don't exist, and I don't have an infection, therefore my GP should stop trying. My GPs send me to these people to try and get help, and although in the end they've let me down mostly, in a lot of regards I can understand where a lot of them have been dissuaded, and after the threat from Dr. James Branley and Dr. O'Sullivan, I'm not surprised. These guys think they've got the right to bullnose and make people feel threatened by their actions. A health practitioner must accept the right of his or her clients to make informed choices in relation to their health care. So by denying symptoms that you can clearly see with your own eyes, let alone with what's in the scans, by claiming that you can't run basic pathology that is everyday testing, and refusing point blank, arm in arm for years, to refuse testing and deliberately tamper with cultures, how am I getting to make any informed choices about anything? Any demand for antibiotics is met with abuse, insults and arrogance. There is no way that you can stand up against them. You have no rights. And now, keeping in mind that this complaint, going through the HCCC, one, I'm dyslexic, so everything has to be in writing, which is a complication for me. Two, this isn't about individual doctors. This is an entire health system, including our governmental background, and I've had enough, and we need to stop it. A health practitioner must not provide services and treatments to clients unless they are designed to maintain or improve the client's health or well-being. Well, most of these are designed to improve people's health. giving antibiotics that improve people's health, that visibly improve people's health. Until those symptoms do not return, that is the best way. And I'm sorry, they're denying me things that I should be well and truly engaged to do. A health practitioner must not engage in any form of misinformation or misrepresentation in relation to products or services he or she provides, or as to his or her qualifications, training, or professional affiliations. That's just a joke. I don't think I even need to respond to that. Okay, that's the end of the public health regulation. That the main points in that. Now we're going to the good medical code of conduct for Australian practices, and let me start. We'll only stick with the highlight because we haven't got all day to be here. They must be ethical and trustworthy. Hang on, I'll start from the top here. Doctors have a duty to make the care of patients their first concern, and to practice medicine safely and effectively. They must be ethical and trustworthy. If they could lie straight in bed, it'd be trustworthy. If they weren't insulting, they could be trustworthy. If they weren't doing everything in their power to prevent you finding out about diseases so that you can be treated correctly, they'd be trustworthy. Patients trust their doctors because they believe that in addition to being competent, their doctor will not take advantage of them and will display qualities such as integrity, truthfulness, dependability, and compassion. Yeah, we'll leave that one alone too, shall we? Doctors have a responsibility to protect and promote the health of individuals and the community. Now, I'm pointing out that this is a highly contagious community outbreak-linked bacterium. There are cases in, I think it was Canada, it's 5,000 in one town. In India, 300 or 400 in 2 or 3 towns, several times over. This is an outbreak-linked bacterium. So when it's not here, not a big concern, but when it is here, when it does come, it can take over entire communities and cause serious issues. So tell me, where are they looking out for not only their individual patients but the community at all? I mean, any doctor, every doctor, including Dr. Britton, Dr. O'Sullivan, Dr. Branley, Dr. Keat, all of them are all looking at, hey, the patient in front of you, I can't see anything, I'm not doing anything, there's nothing for the community. You need to focus on you. How are you focusing on one person and protecting the community from diseases like this? You can't do it. Good medical practice is patient-centered. If they listen to what a word a patient said, they'd actually be able to cure people and help them. It involves doctors understanding that each patient is unique and working in partnership with their patients, adapting what they do to address the needs and reasonable expectations of each patient. Well, all I'm getting is direct. I'm going to fight you on every step of the way because we refuse to identify this bacteria. So I don't see how that has anything to do with respecting their patient and accepting them as individuals. The fact that I can put a culture plate in front of them that proves something's there that their claim isn't, and they can say, well, that's illegitimate research, so you can't use that. That just proves intent. There are many ways to practice medicine in Australia. The core task of medicine are caring for people who are unwell and seeking to keep people well. Well, I've had several doctors get me to the point where I was well. At one stage there, I was well for about 6 weeks. Everybody noted how well I was except for the doctor. The doctor, when I went back and told him that I'd been reinfected by this disease, and keeping in mind that in the research you'll find it has a 89% reinfection rate. And it was also mentioned in the case study, in the research study that was provided. They just ignored the fact until I was necrotic again. And now, where is that making a patient well and continuing to and seeking to keep them well? They're not doing anything about protecting the community. They're not doing anything about identifying the bacteria. They're not doing anything about treating the entire family, including the animals, because of the crossover of infection rates. They're not doing anything to protect neither me or my community, so I don't see how they're keeping within the practices of good medicine. Providing good care. Formulating and implementing a suitable management plan, including arranging investigations and providing information, treatments and advice. And again, you'll find all of this, you can read this whole lot, but the ones I'm focusing on are highlighted. I'm sorry, but they're advising you of things, they're refusing to identify things, and then they're trying to advise you that you're mentally unfit, or that you're, there's something wrong that's not to do with them. It's all about you. I find that completely impossible to believe. Recognising and respecting patients' right to make their own decisions. We have no rights. You go to a doctor and you say, mate, I think I need this antibiotic for this infection. They'll do nothing to help you. They will do nothing to help you identify that bacteria. They will definitely deny you that antibiotic because it wasn't affiliated by them. Therefore, they won't supply it. You have no rights when it comes to medicine in Australia. That's a lie. Considering the balance and benefit of harm in all clinical management and decisions. Well, I'm sorry, forcing people to live with a disease by deliberately refusing to identify it. How is that? And refusing them antibiotics, which can cause other complications. I get that. But not as severe as the complications of not treating the disease. That's what they're designed for. Treat the disease, identify the disease, treat it properly, treat it once, and it goes away. There's none of this other crap, and you don't need to worry about the benefit of harm. Providing treatment options based on the best available information. Well, again, I can't blame so much my GPs on this basis. The GPs are doing the best they can with the information they've got, except for the fact they look at me and they go, shit man, you're sick. However, doctors like Karana Keat, who are specialists in immunology, who know that the pathology that follows is an infection. And infectious diseases that are microbiologists, their job is to take the samples themselves, grow the samples themselves, investigate those samples themselves. Go and check on those, see if anything is growing that's not being identified by the lab, and identify upcoming threats to the community. And this is where infectious diseases gets me, because, and they really piss me off, because there are three roles of infectious diseases in Australia. Identify upcoming threats to the community, treat complicated infections, and orchestrate complicated treatment plans. The first one, identify upcoming threats to the community. How are they doing that while they're still denying that bacteria cause infections? They're deliberately, as you can see from my culture plates, either not checking on those plates, which are being interfered with by the labs, or they're doing the same ignorance. They're microbiologists, it's their job to go and check those and make sure that they're right. Taking steps to alleviate patient symptoms and distress, whether or not a cure is possible. So when you go to your doctor and you go, hey doc, I feel sick, I'm going to show you these things, my hand's splitting open, my mouth's covered in crap, I can't chew on anything, I can barely walk on my hips because of the pain, I can barely stand up because I'm so exhausted, and go, I'm pretty sure it's bacterial orientated, here's the pathology that says it is, here's the pathology that says I think it's this bacteria, here's the bacteria in front of you, and they go, oh, you know what, I'm not giving you anything to alleviate that, even though we've proven that antibiotics reduce those symptoms. We're not going to give you any of those antibiotics, even though you're worried about your heart palpitations, and even though you've walked into Bathurst Base Hospital in convulsions, you're still psychosomatic, and we're not going to do anything to help you. I'm sorry, not good enough. They're not doing anything to alleviate symptoms or stress. They're creating it. They're creating it by deliberately forcing people into dangerous situations. And if anyone strikes back, like that poor fella who struck back and got arrested on the day and had a heart attack, being arrested is stressful, but not enough to give you a heart attack unless you're an unhealthy person. They deliberately left him unhealthy. That was intentional. And because he reacted, he suffered the consequences. This shit needs to stop. Encouraging patients to take interest in and responsibility for the management of their health and supporting them in this. Again, you've seen the video. Do I need to go there? Let's just leave that alone. Decisions about access to medical care. Treating your patient with respect at all times. Pig's bum. All they have is their own ego, and there is nothing else that matters to them. They have no respect for you at all. None of them. Well, I lie. There have been a rare few. Dr. Joe Quirong, I'll give you a heads up, mate. You were brilliant. Even when you were told, stop, you went, I can't do that. You're not well. You're great. It wasn't your fault that these pricks wouldn't do their job. And for a while there, Dr. Sean, mate, you did. But then when it come to the crunch, you dumped me. You put it on me, and you left me in dire straits. Stick it. Not prejudice your patient's care because you believe a patient's behaviour has contributed to their condition. Again, I'm going to point back to Dr. Keat, who's telling patients, who's informing people that he won't look at you if you're a smoker. Sorry, that cannot prejudice patients on their behaviour contributing to their condition. You cannot do that, Mr. Keat. It's against the code of conduct. Kiss my backside. Giving priority to investigating and treating patients on a basis of clinical need and effectiveness of proposed investigations or treatment. I'm sorry, it's been proven over and over again that my symptoms reduce with antibiotics. My symptoms go away. This doesn't treat immunodisorders, it doesn't treat viruses, it doesn't treat fungal causes. It only treats bacterial causes. So if antibiotics are taking away symptoms to the point where my tongue can go completely clear and pink from furry and brown, that's a sign that it's been caused by a bacterial agent. Stop arguing, just do the job. Being aware of your patient's right not to provide or directly participate in treatments to which being aware of your right not to provide or directly participate in treatments to which you conscientiously object, informing your patients and, if relevant, colleagues of your objection, and not using your objection to impede access to treatments that are legal. So I don't care what your objection is. I have a right to treatment, any treatment that's legal, and quite frankly at this point I believe the only treatment I have left is the treatment that is used in the case study provided in this folder. And again, I'll let everybody read that, the treatment there's, and the understanding of the particular antibiotics is registered, is listed in that case study as well. Working with patients, section 3, being courteous, respectful, compassionate, and I highlighted this one, honest. They couldn't be honest if they fell out of a tree or fell out of the lie tree. Encouraging and supporting patients to be well informed about their health. Pig's bum, they're going out of their way to make sure that you don't get this information. Make sure you don't get bacteria identified. To make sure that you don't get what you need to prove that they're doing the wrong thing. And profiting at your expense. This needs to stop. If you do investigate your own thing, you've got a mental disorder. You're stupid, or you're crazy, or you're psychosomatic. And this goes on your record and no one looks at you right. And I'm sorry, psychosomatic people don't have a heart attack from stress of being arrested. That's a medical issue. You're a bunch of bastards. Listening to patients, asking for and respecting their views about their health, and responding to their concerns and preferences. No, you don't. Not a chance. Not even close. You don't care. All you care about is your own ego and your own power of position. This needs to stop. Responding to patients' questions and keeping them informed about their clinical progress. Well, yeah, I think we've passed the point where we know that that's even worth discussing again. Let me see, down to good. Working with the healthcare system. Upholding the patient's right to gain access to the necessary level of healthcare and, whenever possible, by helping them to do so. Not a chance, you're not doing that. Supporting the transparent and equitable allocation of healthcare resources. Transparent? You got a brick wall standing in the way of patients getting the right treatments and the right identifications of disease. You all need to stop. Doctors have the responsibility to promote the health of the community through disease prevention and control, education and screening. You're deliberately making sure you don't identify things. Why? How's that promoting the health of our community? You're not. You're murdering people on purpose. I've had enough. And understanding the principles of public health, including health education, health promotion, disease prevention and control and screening. Well, yous ain't doing none of that. And that comes back to the patient health. What were they? The patient health unit. And even our minister, Mr. Hazard, who says keep letting doctors deliberately refuse identifications, keep letting our labs continually mess with samples so that you don't get identification, you don't get proper treatment. So let's just say that the HCCC, I mean, they've got a role to play in an individual doctor here and there. They can't take on the entire medical system and the New South Wales and the Australian government on their fraud, illegal experimentation and deliberate torture of people in their community. Has to stop. Now we're going to go through quick run through the declaration that these doctors took when they took on their roles as medical professionals. I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. No, they don't. They consecrate their life to the survival of their supremacy and their deliberate and their ego and their right to do whatever they want with disrespect for patients. And I've proven that with everything that I've done previously to this. I will give my teachers the respect and gratitude that they're due. Well, that's if they're due. If a doctor that's teaching doctors to be narcissistic, ignorant, and they become aware of that, they deserve no respect. You can't respect someone who doesn't earn it. Respect is earned, not given freely. So just because you're new doesn't mean you have to respect someone who's forcing you to injure people or do anything disrespectful. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. Well, yeah, you're keeping dignity to yourself. Shame about your patients. The health of my patients will be my first consideration. What a load of crap. I will respect the secrets that are confined in me, even after the patient has died. Well, you know what? That's one point where I do agree. They even protect your patients from the confidentiality of your patients. That side we can't complain about. I will maintain, by all the means in my power, the honour and noble traditions of the medical profession. Well, I'm sorry, if medicine's noble tradition is to force people into disease and basically see what happens, that's called a tradition of illegal experimentation. It needs to stop. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between duty of my patient. I can't comment on that one. I mean, I'm generally a white guy. I cop the same from everybody, so I don't know how any of you other guys are being treated from different nationalities. I do know that the Virginia Boone research it was done in an Aboriginal community, and they do use the reverse, saying, "Oh, you're not Aboriginal, so therefore you've got a different biome." Blah blah blah. What a load of crap! It even states in the research that there was no difference between the white population she tested and the Aboriginal concentrations. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. Seriously, we don't need to go there. I think that's self-explanatory. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. Well, in actual fact, it's the opposite. You're deliberately going out of your way to refuse to help patients, even under threat. Now, when they're to the point where they feel they have to threaten you and your system, you're still being a lying prick and refusing treatment. Good luck. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. They say, I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honour. Well, I'm sorry. There's all the way from government level, I find there is a lack of honour. It's a complete disgrace. Now, I do have a lot of other things that I could go into here. How I've recently started with a secondary staph infection, which is one of the two main complications and raises in mortality rates of this disease, and how I came across that and how I had that discovered. It wasn't through medicine again, it was through private testing. Cost me a fortune, but was well worth it. And that staphylococcus infection has taken priority. I still haven't gotten back to my doctor yet as to find out whether they're identifying that staphylococcus as well, or whether they're going to put that in the nil growth column as well. So we'll soon find out, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I'm doing my videos on how to build your own culture plates. But for now, sorry it took so long, guys. Sorry it gets a bit out there at times, but this is me doing my bit to fight for the health and safety of my country. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I don't need a subscription. I don't need a like. If you really want to help make sure this doesn't disappear, get it put onto, save it down somewhere. Put it where you can. Make something come of it. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the fame. I'm not in it for anything other than the fact that this crap has to stop. So yeah, please help me stop this medical fraud and protect lives. It's important. Thanks.